reorg meeting in the history of reorg meetings.
We're waiting on anybody?
I probably need my computer.
No, not yet.
For the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Statement is hereby made that adequate notice of this meeting was given by submission of said notice to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, and the Cinnaminson Township Clerk and the district website on the following dates: January 17th, 2024. Item number 2, a summary of the results of the Cinnaminson Township Board of Education school election held on November 5th, 2024 are as follows. Candidate Donna Marie Iacone for a 3-year term with 4,635 votes. Candidate Jennifer Falconero for a 3-year term with 3,757 votes. Candidate Laura Fitzwater for a 3-year term for 4,410 votes, and candidate Eileen Blystein for a 1-year term unexpired with 3,917 votes. Now on to the swearing-in ceremony. In accordance with the results of the election, the following individuals have been duly elected to serve on the Cinnaminson Township Board of Education. Mrs. Iacone, Ms. Falconero, Mrs. Fitzwater, and Ms. Blystein, please join me up front. I will now administer the oath of office. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I
Do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same and to the governments
and to the same and to the government
established in the United States and this state,
established in the United States and this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Eileen Blystein,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
for the office of member of a Board of Education,
for office of member of Board of Education,
and that I am not disqualified
and that I am not disqualified
as a voter pursuant to
as a voter pursuant to
RS 19
RS 19
4-1,
4-1,
nor disqualified due to
were disqualified due to
conviction of a crime or offense
conviction conviction of a crime or offense
listed in NJS
listed in NJS
18A
18A
12-1,
12-1,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all the duties of that office
perform all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations and welcome to the board. Congratulations. Okay, at this time, I'm going to take a roll call for attendance. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
Here.
Ms. Catherine Blystein?
Here.
Mr. Bramhall?
Here.
Ms. Falconero?
Here.
Mrs. Fitzwater?
Here.
Mrs. Iacone?
Here.
Mr. Kenny?
Here.
Mr. Meeker?
Here.
Mrs. Trompe?
Here.
Moving on to item number 3, nomination and election of board president. May I have a motion to open the floor and to accept nominations for the office of board president?
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Trompe. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Eileen Blystein. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? At this time, the floor is open to accept nominations for the office of board president. According to bylaw number 0152, a second on the nomination is not required.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Fitzwater for president.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny.
I nominate Michael Bramhall for president.
Thank you, Ms. Eileen Blystein. Are there any other nominations for board president? Hearing none, may I have a motion to close the nominations for the office of board president?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Eileen Blystein. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Trompe. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? At this time, I will take roll call for each nominee in the order of which they were nominated. When I call your name, please say yes or no. Nominee number 1 is Laura Fitzwater. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
No.
Ms. Catherine Blystein?
No.
Mr. Michael Bramhall?
Yes.
Ms. Falconero?
No.
Mrs. Fitzwater?
Yes.
Mrs. Iacone?
No.
Mr. Kenny?
Yes.
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Mrs. Trompe?
Yes.
Nominee number 2 is Michael Bramhall. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
Yes.
Ms. Catherine Blystein?
Yes.
Mr. Bramhall?
No.
Ms. Falconero?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzwater?
No.
Ms. Iacone?
Yes.
Mr. Kenny?
No.
Mr. Meeker?
No.
Mrs. Trompe?
No.
Okay, with a total of 5 yeses and 4 nos, Mrs. Fitzwater is the board president, approved by the board. Congratulations, and at this time, I'm just going to take a 2-minute recess to turn the meeting over. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 4, nomination and election of board vice president.
May I have a motion to open the floor and accept nominations for the office of Board Vice President?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? At this time, the floor is open to accept nominations for the office of Board Vice President. According to bylaw 0152, a second on the nomination is not required.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Ed Kenny.
I'd like to nominate Eileen Blystein.
Are there any other nominations for Board Vice President? Yeah, may I have a motion to close the nominations for the office of Vice President?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Blystein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, at this time, I will take a roll call vote for each nominee. For Mr. Kenny, Ms. Blystein?
No.
I'm sorry, it was Miss Eileen Blystein?
No.
Ms. Catherine Blystein?
No.
Mr. Bromhall?
Yes.
Ms. Falconero?
No.
Ms. Fitzwater? Yes. Ms. Iacone?
No.
Mr. Kenny?
Yes.
Mr. Meeker?
Yes.
Ms. Trompe?
Yes.
Nominee number 2 for Eileen Blystein. All right, Miss Eileen Blystein?
Yes.
Ms. Catherine Blystein?
Yes.
Mr. Bromhall?
No.
Ms. Falconero?
Yes.
Ms. Fitzwater? No. Mrs. Iacone?
Yes.
Mr. Kenny?
No.
Mr. Meeker?
No.
Mrs. Trompe?
No.
And by a vote of 5-4, the board approves Mr. Ed Kenny as the board vice president.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, moving on to number 5, the district mission statement. Mr. Capello?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Seeking the board to approve the district's mission statement under letter A, under section 5, and that mission statement is written in the board agenda.
Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve section 5, district mission statement, letter A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Blystein?
Yes.
We're going on the line.
Yes.
We're going on the
Which
line.
way are we?
Yeah, aye.
Oh,
Aye.
Sorry.
Aye.
It's okay.
Aye.
Takes time.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Moving on to organization agenda items. Ms. Wilkie?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. That the board appoints the following personnel through the organization meeting in January 2026. Item 1, Melissa Wilkie as board secretary. Item 2, Melissa Wilkie as the public agency compliance officer to assist the state treasurer in the implementation of PL 1975 C127. And item 3, that the board approves Melissa Wilkie as district purchasing agent as required by 18A, 18A-2. Item letter B, district policies and regulations. Item 1, that the board approves the readoption of the bylaws, policies, rules, and regulations of the Cinnaminson School District from January 1st, 2025 through January 6th, 2026. Item 2, that the board approves that the school administration be authorized to compile data regarding individual pupils in pupil records from January 1st, 2025 to January 6th, 2026 as follows, and listed below. Items number 3, that the board approves the new release of directory information about students to the public. Directory information is name, address, and telephone number. No other records may be accumulated unless the board has authorized the collection of such facts. Item C, that the board approves the following designations and appointments. Item 1, the designation of the Burlington County Times, Courier Post, and the Cinnaminson School District website as the official school notifications for the Board of Education information. Item 2, that the reappointment of Mark Tyndall as the asbestos manager under the asbestos hazard emergency health and safety designee, as the right to know coordinator, as the safety officer, and as the integrated pest management coordinator, and as the bloodborne pathogens co-manager for January 1st, 2025 through January 6th, 2026. Item 3, that the Board appoints Matthew Parakupka as the Bloodborne Pathogens Co-Manager and Right to Know Co-Coordinator for January 1st, 2025 through January 6th, 2026. And item 4, that the board approves the meeting dates for the remainder of the 24 to 25 school year and the upcoming 25 to 26 school year as attached. Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilkie. Mr. Bromhall, can I have a motion to approve Section 6, Organization Agenda Items, items A through C?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 7, Personnel. Mr. Capello?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Seeking the board's approval for 5 items this evening under personnel. Those items are listed as items 1 through 5 under letter A in the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Trompe, can I have a motion to approve Section 7, Personnel, item A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Blystein?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. And moving on to Section 8, Public Comment. During the public comment section of the meeting, the board will seek public comment on any item. Members of the public are reminded that if they wish to speak when called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. The comment period will not exceed 30 minutes. Anyone wish to speak?
Seeing none?
Okay. All right, we have no executive session tonight. So, Ms. Iacone, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Blystein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Happy New Year.